Tot multim in morir, ad mergilli culpa, leo fagra rora, para broter vicium, standa opi stavni, stiridirum neri, haldas valdi hafnar, hogvaman okanen, hogmanan okanen. Ad multim in morir, ad merskilli calpa, fleo fagra rora, fara brotet micingum, standa opi stavni, stira dirung neri, aldas valdi hafnar, hogvaman organen, hogvaman organen. Dat mundi min morir, at merskildi kalpa, lerok fagra rora, bara brott med vikingo, standa opi stavni, stiriderum neri, haldas valdil havnar, hogvarman orkanen, hogvarman orkanen. Dat mul. That is, my mother told me, the Old Norse version. I wish more people were into keeping casual conversation going between multiple weeks and months. It's always fun building casual friendships, but so many people are either obsessive or transactional, which is to say, somewhere in between the extremities. Oh well. I think it's hilarious that pitcher plants shoot their flowers way up so their pollinators don't get eaten. Like, you should see it. Like, it really does form a skyscraper flower. So it's attractive, carnivorous parts don't end up sucking up its pollinators. Really smart. Mormon sexual repression is weird, because they found weird exploits like soaking. I mean, technically it's a coincidence the guy's hopping on the bed. We're right there, so it's all good, right? I don't know about that one, Chief. It's so weird. I get sympathetic pain even from fiction. Hero just got his hand cut off, now mine hurts. Ow! Ow! Okay. Practicing letting go. It's really good as an exercise, and it's what Lent is all about. But in general, there's probably nothing better for your psyche than nursing a sick animal back to health and then releasing it. Hollywood try to dramatize it, oh gosh, but it is perfectly natural. You care for an animal, then when they're back ready to rejoin the cycle, don't get all teary-eyed, you just let them go back to their due diligence and the business set about them by God. No tragedy. What if you got a new job and they introduced you to your new boss and it was an Indian guy with Ukraine flag in his office and he's on a TV wheeling around while streaming from Taiwan and he says we need more Jews in the business? Rashna, no! Rashna, no! They're gonna liquidate it! They're gonna steal everything! They're gonna ruin everything! Rashna, no! Oh, I am sorry. I am getting this order down from the CIA heads up in the mountains. I need to do this. Why would anybody read Ayn Rand instead of George Orwell or Aldous Huxley? Unless they were a pedophile and they wanted to lower the age of consent. That's the only reason why I would see that to be a reasonable option. Right? Am I wrong on that? I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. I ran Sneaky Poo Poo, right? Yeah, it's true. Like, it's not just the AI voice. It's when lyrics and singing are done by AI when it's Sneaky Poo Poo. You know, you put in appropriate lyrics and you work a couple of times to get something that sounds decent, and there you go. But when you make the script with AI, it is horrifically uninspiring, and it pushes people away because you're not a 4-year-old, yet you're producing you're not a 4th grader, 5th grader, but you're producing like grade school level content and like pushing it as if it's cool or something. Then you get all the idiots that are like excited about it just because it has AI attached to it, and those people are insufferable. They have been for a very, very long time. Like all the Elon Musk humpers have been very insufferable for a very long time, and you know, you're willing to give the guy a shot until you find out, no, he's just a scam artist. He just runs Ponzi schemes with cryptocurrency. He wants to completely and utterly destroy the economy, rob old people for the pensions that they put into the Social Security Administration so that his particular currency will be worth something. That is very sad. It's not the solution envisioned by cryptocurrency and the people that pushed the idea of it. It's not supposed to be pinned to the state. That's the whole thing. It's supposed to be an independent currency free from government controls. And when the government is messing with the prices, which China has for a long time been messing with cryptocurrency, it's not good. It sucks so much that like 80% of Elon Musk's actual support base is from Indonesia and Malaysia. And like, I've already seen the tactic that they employ. They use Indonesian and Malaysian people to flood a particular area with bots and just random comments, I guess, in their time off, and scam calls and stuff like that. And then they say, oh, look at this. Look how poorly it's running. Oh, that would be cute if it wasn't for so devious. Now, have faith. Like, things are going to regenerate perfectly fine. May regenerate in certain patches quicker than they do in other patches. But it's not the end of the world just because the guy's breaking some stuff up right now. It's just the zeitgeist of the culture. If I was a Republican politician, I'd ask him to stay away. I do not need your radioactive money, bro. No thank you. Speaking about the zeitgeist, motorcycle guys talk about the road like communists talk about the economy. It's good old horseshoe theory coming back again, but, you know, rice rocket guys are a little bit more entitled than Harley guys. Harley guys are more entitled than Indian guys, but in general, motorcyclists are the more entitled roadsters, if you will. They genuinely do believe that it's more about them than it is about everybody being able to utilize it as a utility. It's about fun for me, and not the fact that these roads are necessary for people to get to work, for people to send their kids to school, for people to get groceries. There's a variety of other things. And, like, how about just enjoying a nice, quiet day? Some people have mental problems where they cannot be quiet. They cannot sit in quietness. And I do not envy those people. You know, sometimes you'll hear somebody and their like natural voice will be so loud that you can hear it like 30 yards away. That's wild, man. Like, you gotta be so deaf in order to get to that point. And the deafer you are, the more tone deaf you are, and the, in general, more annoying you are. It just explains the exhaust systems being as they are. And you know, you hear some meth heads that are out there deliberately making as much sound with their exhaust systems as possible. Those are really entitled SOBs. They're entitled to torment people's animals, just the random animals that make up the nature spots around our area. It's not hurting anybody. And they are effectively hurting people. And expect to see a lot of Indonesian creeps, Saudi Arabian creeps, you know, maybe El Salvadorian creeps, I don't know. Who knows what the future is? Just a bunch of brown guys on rice rockets. Just expect to see that. I don't mean to be racist. It just randomly hit me why weed is a gateway drug. It's because it's Schedule 1. The punishment is extreme and alike to major trafficking for even a small amount. So it puts you around serious criminals and serious consequences. It's that simple, you know. Despite the fact that it does not have a lot of negative side effects, and it is in its natural state when it's not been GMO'd. Everything that's been GMO'd is significantly worse, and the more people work on it, the worse it gets. So it's super funny. AI, GMO, pesticide, herbicide. The way that we've been building motors recently, it's so funny how it just gets worse and worse and worse without... it doesn't provide any sort of benefits for how annoying and stupid it is. Everything is that way. Nothing is made efficiently anymore. Everything is made with some form of spite injected into it. And, you know where it comes from. It's all according to the plan, given how incarceration and the drug war works. We made the cartels. We made the gangs. We set them up. We gave them crack and cocaine and a variety of other drugs. And that you can trace directly to the same people who pump the drug networks. Let's go into where the Hells Angels really came from. The Hells Angels and the Grateful Dead were two organizations that sold to the left and to the right massive quantities of drugs, psychedelics like LSD and DOM, and it would be deliberately annoying while they were to the people that were on the drugs, and that would mess with their psyches. And this is a true fact of life. Where does that come from? Well, where do the Hells Angels come from? They come from California. Where do the Grateful Dead come from? They come from Hollywood. What's Hollywood? Hollywood is producers, both in film and music, that are mostly Jewish, that are pedophilic in a mass majority of them, and incredibly destructive and parasitic. That's what it is. So you trace back where our gangs really came from. It's that little country in the Middle East that's not worth a damn that we keep fighting everybody for. That's where it's coming from, and I think more and more people are actually waking up to that, so that's cool. Do people really like podcasts with 2 or 4 guys sitting in front of a bookcase, or is that just conditioning? Anyways, Israel is so psychotic and petty. They're literally grasping at straws after a year and a half of fighting Hamas. It's wild watching both those lines and the Ukrainian lines, where the Russians and the Ukrainians have fought a cold, contracted war for 4 years with sustained morale and discipline. The Israelis are randomly bombing 100 trucks, mostly civilian, so that they can flex and try to get their morale back up. But it's not going to work that way. And it really goes to show, if AI, if drones were so important, Israel would be already conquering half the Middle East right now. But they're not. They required us to resecure their shipping lanes in Yemen. And right now, Yemen is lobbing missiles into their country because they are aware, the Houthis that have been hammered into a severely adept fighting force, are literally interrupting Bibi Netanyahu's speeches with rockets. Bibi Netanyahu's out there trying to flex and get morale up. He's got to run into a bunker in the middle of his speech. You know, that's just how it is. There's Iron Dome, yeah, sure. It's iron, not steel, so that's gonna rust and crack pretty quickly anyway. Anyways, the issue plaguing our country that I talked at length yesterday is the backstabbing and conniving nature of our postmodern culture. That originally comes from post-1987 Israel. Throwing temper tantrums and destroying everything in sight with tremendous losses to our own resources is the military doctrine. Also, never drawing lines and going far out of our way and fighting on away game turf is why we're in far direr straits than it appears. Israel was, for a time, fighting on home turf. Now, they've folded their home opposition 1,000 times like strong Japanese steel. Even though the Japanese steel was impure, and that's why it needed to be folded 1,000 times to get the impurities out of it, they've done that with Hamas. They're much, much significantly stronger now, and there's no way of dealing with them that doesn't cause long-term extreme damage to the region. Not in anything that they're capable of. What, are you going to detonate a nuke? That's not going to work. You're going to flood the region? It's going to salinate everything around it for a very long time. I don't really feel bad for them, but I do feel bad for the civilians of Israel that have protested their government for so long, trying to fix this. Decent people, you know, awake, alive people that aren't like these devil-eyed, smirking monsters that you see think that they own everything, that they're entitled to everything. Most of Israel's not like that. At least a good 60% of Israel is not like that. Just as Saudi Arabian proxy forces have, as I explained with the Houthis. And going into Syria is all it really took to overextend the slowly marching Merkava lines of the IDF. Even now, the evil seed of what you've done germinates within you. So here's the deal. We're massively upselling both our and our winnowing allies' capabilities. We're isolating ourselves. Other allies are cutting us off. It's just going to be Britain, Israel, and America. And with what army? You think that America has the army capabilities it did in the 40s and 50s and 60s? No. And thank God it doesn't. Otherwise, with how much Israel has gotten control of us, we could, like, quite literally cause World War III over it. But naturally, they're not going to, you know, with the technology that they have and the reconnaissance that they have, they're not going to Russian Zerg rush like the Soviet Union did. Just bodies into Maxim guns. They're not going to do that. Our capabilities are blowing up civilian areas. That seems to be the extent of what we can accomplish when we, and this has just happened. Yes, we destroyed an apartment building filled with civilians, but the bunker in which the actual intel for the Houthis are, nobody got killed. Nobody got injured. Did not penetrate the bunker. And so you can have all the stealth that you want, but you're not going to succeed with the investment that we've done. It's been so much drained into international bank accounts, and it's not just USAID that does this. It is also the military-industrial complex. A lot of it goes back to Virginia, but a lot of it also goes out. Swiss bank accounts, that's the big one. We're not going to be able to accomplish it, and that's a good thing. Be secure and happy in the fact that America is a paper tiger in a very, very real way. Sorry. Let's get into that a little bit. I also see us lying about the population of China, which is 1.2 billion and climbing. We're saying that their military is paper mache. It is only getting stronger and stronger. While endorsing war out of defensive necessity, which is conflicting lies meant to ease us into contracted global conflict. Even the Nazis, who lasted 7 or so years before collapse, had better drill and better strategy than we have today. And they got high on their own supply and died. They believe their own BS. Never do that. Same with the Soviets. You gotta be realistic, you gotta be pragmatic when you're dealing with things like war. It serves nobody in your own country to lie about your capabilities. And a lot of the generals and a lot of people in the Air Force, they don't. They're fully aware. If they start losing massively, they will pull out and the operation will be canceled, regardless of who's throwing a temper tantrum here or there or in Israel or in Britain or otherwise. Tucker Carlson's not a Russian propagandist by pointing out that Russia is strong. They're a strong, functioning country. So is China. Iran is a lot stronger than anybody on Fox News would have you believe, because they just want it to start so they can last forever and increase the military-industrial complex, which is an isolated, gated community in Raytheon Acres, Virginia, where a lot of these mainstream media moguls hail from. It is not something that you would like to, as a regular American citizen, see happen in your lifetime. It's a warning against our disjointed, sloppy mess. That's Tucker Carlson's trying to give. You think Italians and Caterpillar bulldozers are going to win us a war? Think again, bozo. The fact of the matter is, those are cowards who do not want to get a real job where they really actually have to get dirty. Instead, they utilize destruction equipment and take immoral jobs, destroying things for a very long period of time that will take a very, very large amount of effort to regenerate. And that's why they're cowards and they're idiots, and they would never, ever be able to accomplish anything but bulldozing civilian areas. That's it. And here in America, they get shot. And they know that. Kids these days don't know nothing about hard work. All they know is try to become anime girl, pray to Mecca, do bath salts, and kill cops. Like, buddy, I think you're way too online. And that foundation you just poured last week is already cracking because you parked your truck on it and idled it. Okay, bud? But enough war room rants, right? How you doing? You eating healthy? You waking up with a purpose? You holding thoughts of love close and loosing, festooning distractions? You touched some grass lately, champ? You exercise? You should often. Get some spring sun, my friend. But be careful. We're still on a massive, massive solar cycle of a peak. There was just a M2 geomagnetic storm that just popped off. And that's not going away anytime soon. So make sure you're fully aware of the amount of time that you spend. Get some aloe without anything but aloe inside of it. No food, no petroleum-based dyes, which aren't food dyes. They get labeled as food dyes, but they're petroleum-based dyes. No petroleum jelly. No minerals, oils. Nothing that's petroleum-based, because that will only increase the chance of carcinogen. And if you need sunscreen because you're going to be out for a while, use some form of sunscreen that doesn't just soak into your skin and adulterate it. Also, don't ever use antiperspirants with aluminum in them. That's a good advice that I tendered out in jail, and it actually prevented somebody was getting like hives, like really bad hives, and I was just like, oh, your antiperspirant has aluminum in it. And like he stopped using it and it went away. One of the reasons why people liked me in jail, and it's one of the reasons why I suggest people learn more and more, because it you know, you can help people, and then all of a sudden you got a new friend, and it's great. All right, Joe. Good episode for today. Cheers.